The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's your boy Pooh Bear. Got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
What's happening, bro?
Man, I am man, this pollen kicking my ass. Springtime is hurting me. It ain't even fun no more. I'm talking about like it used to be. You know, I talked about the neti pot. Nah, we done got serious, man. I had to break out and go get some clarity, man.
Getting real, bro.
Man, and I got some, and somebody was laughing at me and got some Benadryl and took it. And it put her, yeah, she ended up knocked out. In the knockout, like it ain't.
The Benadryl undefeated, bro.
Undefeated. That's why I was like, I ain't gonna take no Benadryl. I'm just take the clarity. 9th inning of the LSU game. Watch me.
Sound about right.
Yeah. I woke up and the thing was on the screen said your event has ended. It's like, oh, okay. That's good. Okay. But other than that, man, we had a draft, man. We had a NFL draft. It was different this year, man. It was very different this year.
It was something.
I got some theories behind it. We'll get into it. But NFL draft, we had some I was wrong. We're gonna get into the NBA playoffs. I was technically
I was wrong too.
I was right about one part of it. King Suns going 7. I was right about that. I was wrong that the not King Suns, I'm sorry, Kings Warriors. I was wrong about that part, but definitely
I thought the Warriors would have got it in 6, but
no, I knew that
they won 2 on the road, which is surprising.
Very surprising, man. Very surprising. It's funny. I was in the barbershop yesterday, and some dudes was like, "Man, I bet." Dude cut my hair. He's like, "Man, I bet the Warriors gonna win it." Dude's like, "What you gonna put on?" He said, "I put a dub." He said, "Man, how about this? Let's do a gentleman's bet. 100 push-ups. You ain't got to do them all at once, but when I see you, no matter where we at, you gotta give me push-ups." Boy, they had me cracking up. Dude was like, "Man, put 200 on it." He said, "You sure? Because if I see you in the club, I'm like, let me get them 20." He's like, "You know what? Let's just stick with 100. Let's just stick with 100." Oh man, but shout out to them, man. It was good, man. Had a great conversation. You know what I'm saying? I always have a good conversation in the barbershop. It's definitely I don't know what to say. I don't know. So that's a regular conversation for another day. I've never been in like sports clips or like super cuts or nothing like that.
Stop it.
No, I'm being serious. I don't know if it's the same.
Stop it, sir.
I don't know if it's the same, but
Stop
I know
it, sir. Stop it.
Conversation. You know, I'm just saying.
Stop it. Let's move along. You're gonna get us in trouble.
Hey, we gonna get in trouble. But tell the truth, I don't know if they have those, you know, say different conversations. That's all I'm saying. Like,
just moving on, bro.
Y'all know. Somebody gonna answer me in the chat. Yeah, but like, yeah, we have conversations like that.
I don't think they do, but I'll leave it alone.
Only closest thing I had was military. Get my hair cut in the military.
Yeah,
What you
but
call it?
I think there's too much diversity in terms of genders in those types of establishments to have the conversations you're
You know what?
talking about.
Well, yes and no. I get what you're saying. So my barbershop, we
Let's just keep moving, bro. Let's just keep moving, bro. Let's not do this.
I'm just saying.
I know what you get, but let's just but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Man, let's talk about this NFL draft. Before we get started, man, shout out to everybody in the chats. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Julian, man, he said, "What's good, family? I'm ready to send my right ankle to New York for Jimmy Butler." Man, Julian, man, I gotta hit you up, man. I gotta send you young Dilly Mays Hayes, man. He hit a double the other day. That was had me hollering in my what's called, man. But I get up with you. Shout out to this old vet. Our good friend Josh in the building. Chuck always checking in from Monroe.
Man, that dude ain't been here all series.
Oh yeah, I know he's not. Now I said on the LA Steph with the 50 piece. Yeah, he did. He did good today.
That boy ain't been here all series.
Oh, good. He said the GOAT.
Stephen A called him the GOAT point guard.
I could kind of see it. I can kind of get to him, so I can understand it. Recency bias, but I can understand.
There's a man named Magic. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Steph
Now who now? I've never
5 of them things, bro.
Yeah, and not only that, when needed, Magic said,
Magic
"You know what?
plays center.
Let me play center to help out my team."
Yeah, Magic got 5, and then Steph got to win at least one more to even be in that conversation, in my opinion. But
yeah, but like I said before we get started, let's shout out to our sponsors over at Bet Online.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so he back with the foolishness, I see. He says the Magic. He says so Magic the GOAT point guard, point guard, but point guard. He said he
5
played with
Hall
5
of
Hall of
Famers.
Fame. I don't know about
Name
5.
them.
I don't know about
Name
5.
them. Name all 5 of them.
But
And,
I will say,
and who Steph played with again?
Thank you.
Multiple Hall of Famers.
He liked to forget them Durant years. He also liked to, discredit Clay.
So Klay Thompson ain't a Hall of Famer. So Draymond ain't a Hall of Famer. So Kevin Durant ain't a Hall of Famer.
But he said too, boy, stop. Anyway, let's talk about the NFL draft real quick. NFL draft, man, opened up on Thursday, and you see Bryce Young, no surprise, number 1 draft pick off the board. Now, I do think there was some surprise, a little bit of surprise with number 2, just simply because of the all of the negative press put out.
Yeah, I think that was a smoke screen by Houston.
But it was smart. It was smart. Houston gets their man and CJ Stroud, and
If
then
you look at
Houston. Go
the
ahead.
last 2 years, Houston drafted with their first pick. They drafted players that nobody thought would go as high as they did.
Mhm.
Derek Stingley, and then CJ Stroud.
That's true. Very true. Yeah. They also Houston also know what I'm saying, made a little waves trading back up to get the number 3 pick and getting Will Anderson.
Crazy.
I think I'm gonna have to say they won day one.
Yeah. It's either them or the Eagles, bro. I think I really like what Houston did though. They got a franchise player on both sides of the ball. That's hard to do.
Um, Speaking of the Eagles, I think the Eagles are doing their best to win a college football playoff national championship. Uh,
You
they
mean the
definitely want to.
Philadelphia Bulldogs?
They want to play in Atlanta. Uh, go to the. They want to be in the Sugar Bowl. They want to Rose Bowl, whichever wherever it's played. That's where they want to play at because they. It was funny at first. People like ha ha, you know, what I'm saying they getting all these, you know, Georgia guys. Then later on Saturday, day 3, they get Keely Ringo.
Mm-hmm. Then
And
they
it's just
traded for DeAndre Swift.
traded for DeAndre Swift, and it's like
It's the Philadelphia Bulldogs at this point, man. As a
yeah,
Saints fan, I can't say much because we the New Orleans Buckeyes, or we,
mhm.
you know what I mean. We have been certain. So I mean, I will say this though: if you look at recruiting rankings for the past, I don't know, 5 years, Georgia been 1 and 2 for the past 5 years. So the correlation to a lot of players getting drafted and having high recruiting rankings is there. It's been there. You know what I mean? So I think that Georgia's just stacked their team with NFL players, and Philadelphia has recognized it. And they've, I mean, a couple players have failed to him. The Kobe Dean failed. He fell a lot lower than a lot of people thought he would. Same with Nolan Smith. You know what I mean? So both of those situations, they kind of just beep. It just fell in their lap. Best player on the board just was still there. But the Jalen Carter thing, in a sense, I guess they moved up one spot to get him. But I mean, yeah, I mean, they got a hell of a defense, bro. And you gotta look at it, that Georgia defense last year was historically good. And they got 5 guys off their defense now. So I mean, that's smart, honestly, by Howie Roseman, but it's just I don't know how you can say that there's not a Philadelphia Bulldog or something, the Georgia Eagles or something. You know what I mean? Like there's something going
Here's the
on there.
crazy part about it. Their GM was a Florida alum.
Well, maybe he's seen them close and personal how good that defense is. I just wanted them to draft Stetson Bennett. I wanted that to happen just to, tie it all together.
Funniest tweet I saw somebody said the Rams have drafted Stetson Bennett to use as a trade chip later on with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So, but you did bring up about rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Saying rankings over a few years. So I brought this up on HBCU Nightly last night. This is the first year where the 2020 class has been eligible for to be drafted. That 2020 class is the COVID class that went to the schools, sight unseen, who when those recruiting services didn't get a chance to go out and actually check the, well, of course, previous years they did. They got a chance to see them, but they didn't get to see them senior year. So a lot of the rankings were based on tape, word of mouth, rumors, and stuff like that. A lot of those guys who were top 5, who were 5 stars or high 4 stars, highly recruited guys fell to some late rounds.
I think next year you're gonna see more than this past year. I think this past year most of the recruiting work had been done before the COVID really hit. Because it's usually the summer before your senior year. You know what I mean? Where you really make the name for yourself, or put your final stamp on it. But I think a lot of those guys were a victim of the going to not being able to do all the visits. You know what I mean? Their senior year, um, especially the spring. In the spring, at the COVID really hit. Um, but honestly, I think it's more so we just saw a lot of those 4 and 5 star guys just go to bad situations or not make the most of their situations. If you look at the ones just looking at LSU related, Elias Ricks, Kayshawn Boutte, you know what I mean? They fell because of them. You know what I mean? They were ranked properly and they're good. We've seen them be good enough to be higher picks, but they did that to themselves. I mean, if you want to look at some of the other, Zach Evans, I mean, he got outplayed by Judkins this past year. You know what I mean? So he kind of did it to himself. So I mean, a lot of these guys did it to themselves, but I do think there is some of these guys were overranked. But I think next year you're really going to see it because next year are the guys who didn't have a camp or summer camps and all that in between their junior and senior years. And so they had 2 years of, not really having anybody come watch them in practice, and spring practice, and football games and stuff of that nature. So I think next year is going to be, you're really going to see it. And plus, I think the biggest thing this year was you still have those COVID guys, right? You know what I mean? The super seniors and stuff of that nature. So you have guys who are 25, 24 years old who should have been drafted last year, you know what I mean? But now they got another year. So you just added another 100 people to this year's draft pool or whatever the case may be, which pushed some people further down the board. You get what I'm saying? So
Bingo.
I think it's a combination of all of that.
Bingo. That's actually the next thing I was going to talk about was the those extra years.
Yeah.
The market is oversaturated.
Bingo. Yeah.
Way oversaturated. And
it's gonna correct itself because I think next year, the last year for the COVID seniors. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So after that, it'll kind of rebalance itself back out.
But the people who suffered the most though, FCS schools, D2, HBCUs, those are the guys who actually got hit the worst with that because
it's 100 more FBA. I mean, it's 100 more, Power 5 school, entries in there. So I mean, like it's just a numbers game at that point, bro. And if you like people were saying last night on HBCU Nightly, if you're a GM, you'd rather take the chance in the 5th, 6th round on a DB from Illinois versus DB from Northern Illinois. You know what I mean? Just your fan base, you know what I mean? And everybody will kind of give you more grace for taking, the bigger school guy if it don't pan out than the smaller school guy if it don't pan out. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And when you have 100 more big school guys in there, that's 100 more big school guys who can be taken just so the fan base won't crucify them if it don't pan out. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Paul's Hub chimes in. He says the Vikings are starting an obsession with LSU players.
The Seahawks too.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Durante Jones go back to the Vikings?
Yeah, he went back to the Vikings.
So him picking up Jay Ward.
Yeah, I'm glad for my boy Jay Ward.
Yeah, I think that's a good situation. You know what you're getting. You know
they draft
they drafted was it Bradford?
Was it Bradford?
Yeah, I think they drafted Bradford too.
Yeah.
Julian says that he thinks Addison to the Vikings is sneaky good.
You place Adam Thielen with Addison, man. That's crazy good.
That's good.
It's just like the Seahawks getting Smith and Jigba to go with that defense, man.
That was huge. Looking at I'm trying to think of some other just
what you think about the Saints draft?
Somebody graded them. I forget who was drafted. Graded them a B+.
Man.
For as far as the Saints, for me, no, he said Bradford went to Seattle.
Okay, yeah,
Vikings. Roy. That's what it was. Okay, good call. Who was also on the defensive side?
Yeah,
with Durante. So, but as far as the Saints draft, they didn't draft any names that you see like, oh yeah, I'm glad we got that guy. But they drafted a lot of good talent in positions of need.
That's bingo, right? That's the main thing I heard right there. Positions of need. You need a D
Yeah.
line depth. You got D line depth. Solid D line depth.
Mm-hmm.
You needed another running back because of the AK situation. You got a guy who's 17 touchdowns last year. Pretty much runs kind of similar to AK. You know, 1 foot in the ground and go. You got a big receiver. 2,000-yard seasons as a receiver, you know, a big body receiver in the fifth, sixth round at that, which was a steal. And you got another quarterback who could be your backup of the future when Jameis Winston, you know, eventually leaves New Orleans. But he's familiar with Derek Carr, went to the same college as Derek Carr. They got a good relationship, so you don't have to worry about there being any kind of conflict in the, you know, by drafting a young quarterback with, you know, you just brought in your franchise quarterback, you draft one. There's no beef there. They know each other. They got a relationship. So, and he'll be willing to mentor the younger quarterback. So I think that was a good pick. The only pick I'm questionable about was that Nick Salvadori, or the offensive lineman from
That
Old
they
Dominion.
traded up for
Yeah.
in
I think
the
fourth
fourth
round.
round.
Yeah, I think there was they probably gonna move him to guard. I think there was better
Mhm.
options at guard if you're going there. But if you drafted him for his versatility, it makes a lot more sense because he can play guard or tackle. So if you were just looking at a strictly a backup offensive lineman there, then yeah, I understand you going with a guy who's more versatile. But
Also,
the UDFAs
I think yes,
is really where they hitting at. They
with-
got former UAPB. You know what happened last time we got a UAPB offensive lineman? He became a Hall of Famer. So maybe Mark Evans can, you know, follow Armstead's footsteps and, you know, have a great career with the Saints. But Shaq Davis, big wide receiver for South Dakota State. They got
South Carolina State.
I said South Dakota State. Huh? My bad. Yeah, South Carolina State. Then they got a linebacker. I forgot that kid name, but they got one from Tulane, and then they got another line, or is it DB? They got another kid who put up crazy numbers. I don't know how he didn't get drafted. His name last like Orja or something like that. His last name, but like, I don't know how that kid didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
Lou Headley. Hey, that punter we got too. UDFA punter tatted up like crazy, bro. You seen that?
Yeah, the dude from Miami. Yeah.
Yeah.
My question, we didn't sign any LSU guys?
Nah, bro.
The Saints hate LSU. It's not yeah, I'm not going there. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing.
Cause somebody, you might as well go ahead. Somebody was like 4-3. I mean, Ojulari could play a 4-3. I mean, like, can he? Sure. You know what I mean? Like, sure he can. Is that what he's best suited as? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why should the Saints draft a guy and ask him to do something he's not best at? That's not smart for either the Saints or the player.
I forget who picked him up, but whoever got Apu Ika got a big steal because they got him late.
Yeah. Man, it was a bunch of guys who went late who should have went earlier.
Yeah. You brought up Bootsy earlier. He ended up getting drafted by the Patriots.
Yep.
I think that's a great fit.
Perfect situation for him.
Great fit for him. It's somewhere he can go where he we've seen what they've done with players who, you know, say they put in the slot. We also know how, you know, as an organization structured they are, so they can kind of, you know, keep them in line. I don't think he's necessarily a problem child, but we've seen guys who have been considered ego guys get picked up in
Anthony Orshot, linebacker. That's him.
From Vanderbilt. Okay. But yeah, we've seen how those guys have gone to New England and have had great success. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good fit for him, bro. Honestly, the discipline, kind of like what Brian Kelly brought to LSU. You know what I mean? Is where he's gonna go to at in New England. So perfect situation. Now the quarterback might not be the best situation for Mac Jones, but then again, Mac Jones ain't got the greatest arm, so maybe he does a lot of short underneath stuff to Kayshawn, where Kayshawn can show that yak after the. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Anything else on the draft before we wrap up, man? Is there a player situation or a team that stood out to you?
There was a few, but honestly, I think the Eagles had the best draft, like overall, considering what they drafted and being able to get DeAndre Swift for pennies. Um, to replace Miles. I mean, they basically reloaded everything they lost in the offseason, bro.
That's fair.
So I think you got to consider them the winners.
Who is somebody else? We hadn't talked about him, but Anthony Richardson going forth to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I called that like 2 months ago or whenever when as soon as they hired the dude from the Eagles as their head coach, I was like, they finna draft Anthony Richardson and they're trying to make it Jalen Hurts 2.0. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know who else they got on the roster. I think they got Minshew, Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, they do have Minshew now, if I'm not mistaken.
So if they could kind of let him start half the season or the whole season and let Richardson kind of get his feet wet, I think he'll be all right. But if they kind of throw him to the Wolves too soon, it might be bad for
Yeah.
him.
Think somebody else.
Bijan Robinson to Atlanta.
Atlanta had a pretty good draft. I hate to say it.
Did they?
I think they had a pretty good draft, a decent draft.
Did they? I think Carolina had a better draft than Atlanta.
Carolina had a better offseason.
Oh, of course.
Period. But yeah. And I hate that.
I like the Texas draft too, though. They got Henry. Oh, Tennessee getting Hendon Hooker was crazy. Yeah. I mean, not Hendon. They didn't get Hendon. They got Will Levis. Hendon Hooker went to Detroit, which is a good situation for him. I thought Tennessee was going to draft Hendon Hooker, which would have been a perfect story. But Toa going to the Texans with D'Amico Ryans and that defense, putting him and Will Anderson back on the same, man, they gonna be nice, bro.
Yeah. Hey, pause. Pour one out for Malik Williams. Malik Willis. I wonder what side with that relationship.
Supposedly there was some like personality issues and like things of that kind of nature. Like he was getting into it with people and things of that nature. But I mean the writing was on the wall whenever they signed Josh Dobbs off the streets and started a game with Josh Dobbs. I mean, you knew it was up there. Yeah. I want to know if he could go to like Lamar, like behind Lamar, how that would work for Malik Willis.
I think that'd be a better fit. Chris asked what grade you giving the Saints, and I think you said A-.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked to see a tight end somewhere in the draft and a linebacker somewhere in the draft. I know we got in UDFAs, but I don't know. I didn't really see the need in going safety, but it is what it is. Saints had to trade up too. They wasn't no way they was going to use all 8 of them picks.
All right. Now, moving on. NFL announced that they're pushing to try to get this the new schedule out by the 11th, next Thursday.
I mean, it don't matter when it come out to me, and the games ain't till September. I mean, yeah. But they always do a good job though of always like keeping themselves like relevant in headlines. Yeah. But they make a whole thing out of the schedule. Like they tell you who your opponents are in like January or February, something like what I mean, and make a big deal out of that. And it ain't even the whole schedule. People be excited like, oh, who we playing next year? You know what I mean? Don't even know when you play them. You just be excited to figure out who you play.
Right. Man, let's move to the college ranks real quick. We didn't talk about this. This came out late last week. The SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, has come out and said that they want to basically stop rushing the field, storming the fields, and basically said that they are looking at doing something as punitive as taking away home games.
Yeah. I say this. Smart move in a sense by the SEC office. And the reason why I say that is the fines wasn't hurting the school. You know what I mean? When you had Taft paying the fines, you know what I mean? And stuff. I mean, you're not hurting the school at that point. If you want to hurt the school, take away a game, take away them ticket sales, take away them concession stand sales, and all that. That's how you hurt the school.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's smart by the SEC. But man, it's storming the field, bro. Like it ain't that serious. We talking here to Sir Pooh, storm over fields. You know what I mean? Like it ain't that big of a deal.
I tell you what, that's what made the game. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went into when we went into the game. I think I said I don't know if it was the Vidalia T, but I said prior to I said we storming the field tonight. Before I even sat down good in the seat, I said we storming the field tonight. Told everybody, hey, we're storming the field. That's the route we're taking. We're gonna go down them steps. Y'all be careful. It's a little wet, and we're gonna storm the field. That's what I was saying. So I had planned it out.
So I want to know the semantics of this. If you storm the field game one, are they going to take away a current game on your schedule, or will it be the next year?
It's got to be the following season because it's so. I think is overrated. As far as for instance, I get it. There's always the fan safety issue. You know,
man, you took that risk when you jump on the field, man. It's you trespassing. So technically, I mean.
But here's the thing, because you know when I say fan safety, meaning or player safety, that's what I should say. Player safety.
Okay, I get that part.
Here's the problem with that though. The last two instances. Now here comes a conspiracy theory. The last two instances where people have stormed the field and there's been an altercation between a player and a fan, it's been Alabama.
Well, and it's been negative for Alabama.
Bingo.
How people reacted.
Bingo.
Which leads me to this comment by Power Hub, which says the committee on that rule proposal is headed by Greg Byrne, Alabama AD. Tells you all.
Bingo.
Not to mention, like who gets the field stormed on them more than anybody? Alabama. You know what I mean? Because when you
learn to win on the road.
That's part of it. But I mean, in a sense, you should take that as a badge of honor. You know what I mean? Because they're not storming the field whenever they beating, Mizzou. You know what I mean? Like, there's no sense of achievement in doing that. So the fact that people storm the field when they beat you should be a badge of honor. Like, yeah, we the big dogs. Y'all felt like y'all did something.
Tony Brown, Jermaine Burton. Both of them, when teams stormed the field, basically punched the fan.
Yeah.
The fan didn't say nothing to him. Or if they said something, it was kind of at a distance, walking by or something like. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, both videos, the fans were just walking by and just cheering and got punched. So,
yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just feel like it's an overreaction to feel like that's a negative. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, completely agree. It's stupid. Here you go. Julian says, I agree. Storming the field in the court makes it much better. I stormed the court when Texas Tech upset Oklahoma when they had Buddy Hield and was probably the best time I had. Yeah.
Stuff though. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is very, very entertaining.
I mean, like one of the best college football moments of all time is a band rushing the field at the game or during the game. You know what I mean? Like, You don't have to play
Sir.
without that, man.
I tell you. But yeah, man, I think it's just I understand. I can kind of see it from one point of view, but I do think it's I think they're making too big of a deal of it, and there's other ways you could do this. So, uh, but anyway, Greg Sankey
I
do
mean,
what he can.
it's smart in the sense though, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the only way to hit the school.
yeah, he doing what he can to protect his boo. So
Greg Byrne.
I'll say Nick Saban, but
I don't think Saban care.
yeah. So man, let's move on to some basketball. We ain't had a chance to talk about this either.
We talked about it, man.
We talked about it. We talked about it when it was a possibility. But it's official. It was made official. Haley Van Lith to LSU. Instantly, LSU is now co-favorites to win it all with UConn at plus 400. Anissa Morrow, if she joins this, instant favorite. So I put I'm saying this: if you are a betting person and you think that LSU is going to win it all, you might want to. You might want to do it now because before Van Lith joined, I think it was like plus 600 for LSU.
Yeah, 650, something like that. Yeah.
When Van Lith joined, it dropped to plus 400. You might want to put them dollars on it now before Morrow get here.
Yeah, because I got a good feeling about that.
I do too.
She hasn't visited South Carolina yet, though. I will say that hasn't happened yet, but
I hadn't seen as much interaction.
The way she was posting her visit at LSU seemed like she was really enjoying herself.
Hold on, I'm sorry. What, sir? Okay. I'm sorry. Go check it out. Thank you, sir. Top flight security of the world right there. But Mass, what do you feel like? Because repeating is hard. Winning is hard. Repeating is very hard.
Right now, I wouldn't say that LSU is the favorite.
Okay.
I mean, I know I'm gonna get criticized for that, but it is what it is. They get Anissa Morrow, they prohibitively the favorite. I think LSU still right now is top 3 favorite, top 2 favorite. You know what I mean? Right there with UConn. But South Carolina, I mean, it's too hard. Like the portal, not even like everybody's still landing places. You know what I mean? Like I got to see what happens when the game of musical chairs is over, and then I'll know who I really think's the favorite. But right now, I think UConn for one because of the camaraderie and they bringing everybody back for the most part. And last year they had their best player hurt most of the season. So if Azizi Fudd is healthy, then I mean you got to consider them right there with LSU as the favorites.
Let me ask this because this is another issue that popped up. Kim Mulkey's schedule.
Yeah,
the
it's
schedule
true.
is
Paige
too easy.
Beckers too. Yeah, Paige Beckers ain't played all last year.
Oh, that is true.
Crazy.
Yeah. But the schedule, LSU is too. The out of conference is too light.
I mean, who cares? They just won the national championship.
Bingo. I don't know what to say. It's crazy.
I mean, if I was a UConn or a South Carolina fan, I would say the same thing though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but as an LSU fan, it doesn't matter what we do. We just won the national championship. Like, and obviously didn't hurt us this year.
This has been her MO since she was at Baylor as well.
Yeah, I mean, she knows what she's doing. She got multiple chips. She got 4 of them things. She knows what she's doing. Like, but I just say it didn't hurt us this year. So obviously, you know what I mean? Like, could it hurt us? Yeah, but also playing a tough schedule could hurt you. You know what I mean? So I mean,
hurt your seeding, makes your path a little bit harder. Exactly. But yeah, Man, let's talk about the NBA playoffs, man. I know we kind of opened up, talked a little bit about it.
Let me ask you this:
Uh-huh.
Was it a failure by the Bucks?
Man, the way Giannis answered that question was perfect.
Man, I don't want to hear all that.
It's not. I'm being honest with you. I don't think it's necessarily the season was a failure. Yeah, you didn't get to where you want to be, but the season wasn't no failure.
Man, stop it, bro. Everything he said was cool and all, but yeah, the season of failure, bro. You the number one seed in the East. You had the best record in the league, and you lost in the first round to an eighth seed. That's a failure.
It's disappointing. Yes.
That's a failure.
Yeah. Okay.
Like what? Did you achieve your goal? You didn't even make it out the first round.
Agreed.
So that's a failure, dog. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you could say it was a great season, but it was still a failure. Like,
Penn says I'm tired of his constant complaining.
I guess you're talking about Giannis.
Giannis? I don't know if Giannis. I don't know about that. Nick says I don't think so because he was hurt most of it. If he played, I would say it's a fail. They were still number one seed.
They were still number one seed, and you lost to a team that barely made it to the playoffs. And even with that point, Nick, he came back the last two games of the series, and they blew a double-digit lead in the last game of the series. Actually, the last two games of the series, they blew a double-digit lead.
I don't think this team hinges on Giannis.
I think it does, and I think Giannis's flaw is being exhibited by Miami. Miami has shown in the bubble, and they showed this year that they're gonna expose that flaw. Giannis can't shoot.
Yeah,
Giannis can't even make a mid-range jumper, and they exposing that.
I think this team is held together by Chris Middleton, and when he got hurt,
part of a problem too.
When he got hurt, they hadn't been the same. I know he's come back and played, but they just hadn't been the same.
Man, that problem is Giannis can't create unless he's driving to the goal and attacking the rim. He can't pull up and shoot from anywhere on the court. And in the playoffs, when you play a team like Miami, they're going to expose that. They're the only team who has been able to, but that's the problem.
Who put them out last year? It wasn't Miami.
Oh, no, it wasn't Miami last year. It
was Boston.
Yeah, Boston. But same type of thing. You know what I mean? Miami, he had a better series versus Boston than he did in the two Miami series. That's why I keep saying Miami. But they exposed. I mean, Boston did it to a certain extent too. They exposed him. He can't shoot. He's gonna have to develop either a mid-range or some kind of three. Because if not, this is what's gonna happen every time. Every time.
I did say they weren't gonna make it to the conference finals.
You did. I was a believer. I mean, they were the best team all year. They should still be alive right now. But right now, I mean, Boston, if Boston don't make it now, it's got to be considered a failure for them. And I mean to the finals, not the conference final. Nothing. They got to make it to the finals, or it's a failure for Boston.
Could this be the year that Philly make it?
Oh no,
because they playing Boston right now. Ain't they playing Boston?
Yeah, they're playing Boston next. I don't think so, dog. Not after what I saw. And I know I was high on Philly. I thought they would beat Boston this round. But after what I saw round one from them, no. They not in it, bro. Joel hurt. I mean, they not doing it.
All right. On the flip side, man, Nick in here. Let's go ahead and talk about them Suns real quick.
Waxed.
Yeah, because they played last night against Denver, and it was They Murray's back.
Mm-hmm.
Fully back. He looked like he like Bubble Murray again.
That boy went off.
Yeah, he like Bubble Murray. And I don't know if the Suns got enough.
They ain't got enough depth or defense.
Yeah.
Anyway, they ain't got enough. That's how you know they sorry right now. But if you go back to the trade for Durant,
yeah,
I said they gave up too much depth and too much defense.
I didn't realize how much they gave up. Bridges and Johnson, Cam Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh.
They gave up all their depth and their defense. I mean, they ain't got no defense. Torrey Craig, salute to you for trying, boy, but you not no lockdown defender, my boy. Like he give it effort, but if that's your best bet as a lockdown defender, you're not finna shut nobody down, bro.
Yeah. Now I will say the Warriors, like we talked about earlier, they didn't surprise me. They won Game 7 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff experience definitely factored in, helped. Steph went off for 50.
Yeah, that's Game 7 was the first time. That's that moment I was talking about that the Kings ain't never been in before.
Yeah. Realistically, the Kings, if they should have won it, they should have won
Game 5.
Was it 5 when they were in
Mm-hmm.
No,
they should have won Game 3. Game 3 in Golden State, and they should have won Game 5 at home. Really?
Yeah, because Game 3 was the one they lost by 1 second. They let Harrison Barnes. It was actually a week ago yesterday. So with that said, or was it a week ago yesterday? A week ago today. I'm sorry. With that said, now they play the Lakers. Normally, even being a LeBron fan, a Laker homer, normally I'd be like, I think the Warriors got, so can take this, what the Lakers, when that midseason trade is truly paying off.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I mean, yeah and no. I mean, part of it is LeBron came back from injury. That was part of it. Anthony Davis came back from injury. That was part of it. So, I mean, the trade helped, but none of those guys from the trade have been really balling in the playoffs.
D'Angelo Russell?
Man, D'Angelo Russell has been hit or miss in the playoffs. He's had games when he shouldn't even be on the floor. That one game, he hit 3 straight threes, and that was all he did that game. All he did. It was big, but that was all he did. He ain't make a shot before that.
What's the dude? Yashimara. No,
Yashimara. He had moments, but there's also been times where he shouldn't been on the floor.
I think they got role players. I think they
got role players, but I mean that's not the reason why their season turned around. The season turned around because they got their 2 best players healthy at the same time. And AD been hit or miss too. Austin Reeves been their best player, if we want to be completely honest.
Yeah, he has.
Which is sad, but it's the truth. So I say it's sad because you got AD, LeBron, and all these max deals and all these guys making all this money in the second round, or is he undrafted? Either way, that's your best player. I mean, that's kind of sad.
But
I got the Warriors in the series though.
How many games?
I think it's gonna go 7.
Lakers in 6.
Interesting.
Lakers will take game. They'll still win in Golden State. They'll win at home, lose in game 5, win game 6.
I don't know. Golden State, they're gonna go at least 7, cool.
I don't know. We're gonna see.
I feel like there's a lot of homerism in that, dog. This ain't Memphis.
Could be. It could be.
This ain't Memphis, cool.
I get that. This ain't Sacramento either.
I know Sacramento is better. Like, let's be real. Sacramento better. And y'all play the Memphis team without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. I'm just saying. Like,
Lakers is 6.
It matters.
We're gonna see.
That matters.
We got a hockey update for Julian. Says we have an upset alert. The Florida Panthers have upset Boston Bruins. They won 4-3 in overtime in game 7. Boston was the best team during the NHL season and had a crazy record. Whoa.
Yeah, they did though. They did.
Let's talk a little baseball. I know you don't I ain't gonna say you don't care for it,
Hold
but
on.
yeah.
My guy say you couldn't have been watching Rue Hachimura this series. I did. And he said he balled them first 3 or 4. He did. He balled the first 3 games. And then after that, he shouldn't have been on the floor. He had double digit points the first 3 games. The next 3 games, the boy barely scored 6 points. I'm just saying, bro. Like if you can't just look at the 3 games where he went off and not look at the 3 games where he didn't really do much. I said he been hit or miss. That's the definition of hit or miss. Like I don't really know what more you thought the guy. He wasn't averaging 20.
I will say this. I don't think it's gonna happen. This is real homerism. But if somehow the Lakers find a way to make that run, all that is gonna happen anyway. There's gonna be a lot of hate for him anyway. But all that GOAT talk and stuff.
So you got y'all winning the finals now, bro?
I just said I don't think it's going to happen, but if it somehow it happens.
Oh nah, that ain't happening, cuz.
I'm just saying, man. Just saying. But let's talk some baseball, man. LSU finally get another sweep, man. This one wasn't necessarily as easy as some thought it would be.
For a little bit, huh?
Yeah, game one. LSU was complete control from the start, behind Skeens, and got through it. Game two, slow start. Alabama ended up getting out to a big lead. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 8-4, which is ironic. 8-4. LSU scored 8 runs in their last 3 innings, because there's 6, 7, 8. To end up winning that one 12-8. And then today, LSU came out. I think Bama scored. LSU came back, was up 2-1, 3-1. Then Bama went on a run themselves, went up 7-3. LSU came back, scored, started scoring just crazy. Thanks to just horrible pitching by Alabama. Alabama bullpen fell apart. And then LSU took the lead, never gave it up. They did threaten in the 9th, but the same thing kind of happened in game 1 too. But LSU shut it down. Ended up getting a series sweep. So LSU is now number 1 in the West,
which sounds crazy.
Yeah, and technically they could have been tied for number 1 overall with Vanderbilt. But the series with South Carolina, because the game did not get played, Vandy is 16-5, LSU is 15-5. So
half a game back.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, LSU
South Carolina guy.
yeah. They lost the series to Auburn. So
didn't they get swept?
Did they get swept? Let's look. I don't know for sure. I know they lost. Let's see. No, they didn't. They didn't. Okay. They beat the first. They won the first 2 and lost today 7-8.
Okay.
So they tried. So
they only lost 1.
South Carolina only lost 1. I'm sorry. Auburn only lost 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they took 2 out of 3. So yeah, and we got Auburn starting next Friday in the box.
Yeah.
So
should be a good one.
So, I'm lying. I'm sorry. Correction. We have Auburn next week on the Plains.
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So, very interesting to see. LSU needs to necessarily. I ain't gonna say win out, but they are in a good place to at least get the top 4 for the double bye in the SEC tourney. It'd be nice to get the number 1 overall. LSU has been funny because LSU has been like number 5, number 6 in the SEC West, but they were number 1 in college baseball overall. Now the East is starting to play. All the tough teams are playing each other. You know what I'm saying? Cannibalizing themselves, and it's balancing out because LSU started out real top heavy. So still have not lost a series this year. So it's funny because I'm gonna wait till the end. I'm gonna wait to see. Somebody said something, you know what I'm saying? We had a conversation we posted talking about whether, you know what I'm saying, LSU was at least make the Omaha, and said that they should make it, and somebody said that was a silly. They tried to sneak this, so it's interesting. Interesting. We don't look so foolish now, I guess.
All I would say is this: winning every series, the expectation changes. You know what I mean? Like, you win every series, that means nobody has been able to take 2 or 3 from you. So that shouldn't change once you get in the the regionals, super regionals, and Omaha. So I don't see how that's a crazy expectation. But I will say this though: the last time LSU lost to UL, and who we just lost to? Nichols in the same season. Do you know what year that was?
I'm going to take a guess and say it was 2017.
No, 2009.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know what happened that year, right?
Yep. See you in Omaha.
All right.
Horns down. But yeah. Hey, I don't know if you saw this. San Francisco Giants and San Diego Padres played in Mexico City. Oh, that boy's so petty. Ooh, he's so petty.
Hey, it was terrible, bro. They gave up a football score, dog. They gave up 35 runs, bro.
In one game? To who? Oh my goodness.
Georgia Southern, I think.
Oh my goodness.
It's bad, man. It's bad, bro. It's bad. You gotta laugh to keep from crying, dog.
35 runs, bro. That's
it's 35-8, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was a legit football score, bro. Yeah. It's bad, dog. It's bad.
Oh shoot, I know it's bad because I started looking and ULM put up the 2022, which call it, and not the Jeez. Let's see here. I'm scrolling.
35-8. They gave up 27 hits.
Jeez. 35-8. And then they make no better. They lost 15-3 today in 7 innings.
Yeah, bro. It's rough around here right now, bro. At least the softball team doing good though. They got a sweep this weekend.
Man. All right, so this game, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres. Both teams actually scored in this one.
Yeah, they ain't put up enough more than 35 though.
Not even combined, but it was Mexico City combined 11 home runs, man.
The altitude, man. So all right. Because of that, why don't we take the All-Star game to Mexico City?
I like it. I like the idea. Or take it to to the Rockies.
No. F the Rockies. Only thing good come from the Rockies is Coors Light. I don't even drink it.
But let me ask this. Is more offense better for the game?
Of course. I mean, for the fans, of course. I mean, Baseball purists don't like it. You know, they want the whole single and then drive in a run. You know, hit a man over. You know what I mean? Sacrifice bunt and all that kind of stuff.
I
But I
think
mean, the
in
fans
every
want to
sport,
see sport. The fans
in,
want to see offense.
in every sport, if you tailor it so there's more offense, when you get a game that is like a defensive stronghold, you appreciate it and you love it a lot more. If you look at um, LSU 2019,
Yeah,
everybody loved that, you know what I'm saying, love that season and stuff. But when you played Arbor and the game was tight,
yeah,
you enjoyed it a lot more.
yeah. I think. I mean, I think. Offense is just more exciting in every sport, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to watch a soccer game and it be 0-0. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You want to watch it and it be 5-4 or what, you know, something along those lines. So
The
nobody
World
wants to
Cup.
watch nobody wants
World
to
Cup
watch
fight, yeah.
nobody wants to watch a basketball game and the score be 52-50. You know what I mean? You want to see 102-100. You know what I mean? So like offense is always better. Well, more exciting, I would say. It's not better necessarily. More exciting.
All right, man. Next week, UFC. You got Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. Cejudo making his
Man, I hope
return.
he knocked that boy out. Triple C Cejudo.
Okay, I don't like Cejudo.
Me neither, man.
I don't like how
That
he
dude
left.
won. That dude won. Yeah, he won. Then like, I'm out. I ain't even trying to defend my title. Oh,
Yeah, so I guess you got that. You said you look for Aljamain. Now I got another one for you. It's been rumored Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua in December. Do you care now? At this
not
point,
really. Not really. I'm more care about the fact that I saw that Bud and Earl Spence are renegotiating again. That's more exciting to me.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I think
Deontay gonna knock that boy out.
yeah, I think they missed the window, the excitement window. It's just like the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. People gonna watch, but the whole
Yeah.
excitement of it, the luster had
Well,
worn off.
I think the luster's still there on Deontay's part.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He only lost to the best fighter in the world, or the best heavyweight in the world. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
he just couldn't beat that. He couldn't climb that one hill. You know what I mean? But everybody else he been in front of, he put him down. Joshua can't say the same. He lost to some people he shouldn't have lost to. So I think the luster more so off of him than it is Deontay.
Yeah. All right. All right. We ain't did. It feel like we ain't did this in a minute.
And forever, ever.
All right. Let's go. All right. You want to take first stab at it? You want me to take first stab at it?
You go first.
Okay.
Since you kind of negative and I kind of, you know what I'm saying.
All right. Here we go. All right. NFL. I want to holler at y'all for a second. So the NFL draft was just passed this yesterday, concluded. And I do want to say it was great to see that the first three quarterbacks taken off the board were black quarterbacks. And that's great. Looks good. Looks like the sport is quote unquote diversifying, or I don't know how you want to put, because of the stigmas that were placed on quarterbacks, black quarterbacks and stuff. But I think that the NFL is they're playing games with the whole diversity thing. When you look at it, there's still no black owners. That I don't, because I think the deal with the Commanders fell through. Someone else got in there, so there's no black owners. GMs and just really you had the first president last year, black president last year. Black head coaches is at a low. So it's just, I don't know, man. The NFL, it seems like I can't tell what y'all doing. Y'all are failing on both fronts. People who want to see, more black head coaches, who want to see HBCUs included, they aren't getting satisfied. People who want to see the game change or see the game return to what it was, they're not being satisfied. NFL as a whole, I feel like you're failing. You're failing everybody.
I'm not saying you got to pick a side or anything like that, but come on, step up, do something. Make it enjoyable. The product you've been putting out has not been good lately. I mean, everybody thinks that the games are rigged. Super Bowl is fixed. The fix is in. It's just not. It's not a good product. And now you're at a point where people are starting to lose a little interest. So that's my altar call, man. NFL, step up, do better. You literally had one HBCU player drafted. And I understand that we talked about all the semantics around all the things that played in part to that. But how are you evaluating your talent when you're looking at all of the players that are out there and the names that we're seeing picked? And it's just you're falling back to, okay, I'm just going to pick names from the biggest schools. Come on. Let's do better.
Couldn't agree more. All right. Ja Morant and the rest of your team, especially Dylan Brooks, come on down here to the front. Y'all remember whenever Ja Morant was like, I'm fine in the West? Y'all remember that? Whenever they was feeling themselves because they was number one in the West and you know they were playing pretty good ball not even halfway through the season. Then all of a sudden, Ja Morant decided he wanted to go pull guns and do all this other kind of stuff, be a distraction to his team. Then injuries happen because, you know, basketball injuries happen. And then they finished the season at number 2, matched up with the Lakers. And then some guy most people never heard of named Dylan Brooks decided he wanted to talk noise to LeBron, saying how he was going to end his career and all these kind of great things. Then Dylan Brooks proceeded to let LeBron cook him a few times during the series, one for a game time, then a game winning play in the same game. And then all that talking just stopped. All of a sudden, Dylan Brooks didn't want to talk to the media anymore. Dylan Brooks started playing victim, saying the media was making him a victim and villainizing him like he wasn't the one who started saying all this before nobody even asked him anything. And then on top of that, he didn't go talk to the media after the game. If you're going to be a heel, if you're going to be the guy that everybody hates, if you're going to be the big bad bully, you at least got to back it up, man. You at least got to own it. That boy ain't did nothing to own it. Honestly, bro, you look like a punk. And I don't know if you're going to be in Memphis next year because they were better without you this series. You're a defender who got cooked. You're supposed to be a 3-and-D, but you shot like 20% from 3. I mean, what are you giving your team besides pissing off LeBron and the rest of the Lakers? And you see what that did for you. You at home. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. So Dylan Brooks, Ja Morant, next time don't speak. You ain't done anything to earn the right to speak, man. Y'all talking like champions when y'all ain't even made it out the second round. You muted, bro. But my boy Nick say Dylan Brooks about to be hooping in Yugoslavia.
Yeah. Hot take. Memphis is better when Morant ain't on with the team.
No, I can't go that far.
He scores, he helps, but when they have Tyus Jones or somebody in.
Tyus Jones is a great point guard, though. Tyus Jones lead the league in assist to turnover ratio for like the past 7 seasons or something. Like he averaged less than 1 turnover. I mean, I think they better without Dylan Brooks.
I can agree with that. I'm just saying, Ja ain't necessarily.
They not all right. So if they got Tyus Jones and not Ja, they're gonna be a 2 seed in the West. That's what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm saying
you just said they was better without him, though.
I'll say it. Yeah. They probably they're 2. I can say they'd be a 2 seed.
I disagree. So they ain't got nobody who can score consistently enough without Ja.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We'll be back on next Sunday. Hold on, let me get the stuff ready. We'll be back on next Sunday. Got anything else we get up out of here?
Nah, man.
All right.
This show was presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!